Twisters was directed by Lee Isaac Chung. It stars Daisy Edgar-Jones, Glen Powell, and Anthony Ramos. In this film, a retired tornado chaser and meteorologist are persuaded to return to Oklahoma to work with a new team and new technologies. If you didn't already know, Twisters is the legacy sequel to the classic film Twister from 1996. It's a film I watched years ago in class, kind of all broken up in pieces. I wasn't a big fan of it. I know that a lot of people love it and a lot of people think it's really bad. It's been years, so I don't really have an opinion of the movie anymore, but I was quite excited to see this film. I was not really interested at all months ago, and then the more I learned about the film, the more excited I got, and the closer it came to the release date, I was like, oh, I'm actually really excited to see this movie. And most of that goes to the cast. Obviously, I love Daisy Edgar-Jones. She's one of my favorite actors. Normal People is one of my favorite things ever. I mention it in every video I can. I love Glen Powell. He's exactly the handsome, charming lead man in Hollywood that we want, and of course, I love Anthony Ramos from Hamilton, and seeing him in films like In the Heights and his small roles in A Star is Born and now here, it's just great to see him. And it's directed by Lee Isaac Chung, who directed Minari, which was one of my favorite films of that year, and this movie was shot on film, which to me will always give it a special place in my heart just because they're going the extra step. Yep, that's the word. Just because they're going the extra step to really make this film as great as it could be. And overall, this is a very solid film. There's nothing groundbreaking here. There's nothing too crazy or shocking. It is a pretty structured film. I did feel that when I was watching it, I was like, okay, they hit this point in the story, they hit this point, now they're gonna hit this point, and it feels very predictable. With that being said, the action scenes are still awesome. Although you kind of feel like you know what's gonna happen, they're still really fun in the moment. The CGI is great, and it looks even better on film. It gives it such a nice texture, and the dark parts and the blues and grays really look nice in this film. One of my biggest problems with this film is something that I feel like maybe a lot of people won't mention, and maybe it's just a personal thing, but I feel like there's a difference in using music in your movie and using score in a way. I mean, obviously, but for this film, the score was really good, and it played in these smaller moments, and sometimes it would play when the camera would, spin around a character and reveal them looking up at something, and that was awesome. But there's a few country songs that keep playing in this movie that absolutely take me out of it. One, probably just because I don't like country. I know they're in Oklahoma and Glen Powell is like a tornado wrangler and stuff like that, but they just felt so much like modern pop stars trying to make their song for the movie and listen to this song on the Twister soundtrack, blah, 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 because it really did not help elevate the movie. It totally took me out of the situations and made me a little bit sad because I wasn't getting more of the score, which I already liked. I hope that makes sense. But still, the sound design is really great. Obviously, this is a huge disaster movie with a lot of shit going wrong, shit going everywhere, just all over the place, and it absolutely captures that feeling. As I said, it is predictable, which does take away from some of the suspense, although I will say there were a bunch of action scenes where I was really gripping the handles of my seat. Daisy Edgar-Jones, of course, gives a great performance. She is truly the leading factor of this film, and I love seeing her get more and more work. She is, again, one of the most talented people in all of Hollywood here, and she really takes this performance that maybe doesn't supply her with as much as you'd expect. I mean, she has like a pretty decent story, but there are some bigger moments where she's allowed to lash out, and it really works in this film. And Glen Powell, of course, is great here too. He really matches that. He's got the cool, tough guy, but of course there's more to him that you find out throughout the film, and Anthony Ramos once again knocks it out of the park here as well. There's a lot in this film that people will love. It is a bit too long. I think it went 20-30 minutes too long. There's a certain point where I felt like the film could have ended, and then it just kind of keeps going, and everything you see in the part where it keeps going is pretty good. It just kind of felt like it hit a point where I was like, okay, this movie feels like it should be over, but it is absolutely the movie that people will want to run out to the theaters and see and have a great time with their friends. Glen Powell was saying He doesn't want to make movies that he wouldn't go see himself, and this is exactly what he means. Twisters is exactly the large disaster movie audiences will love. Daisy Edgar-Jones delivers a personal and exhilarating performance as a struggling storm chaser. Her ability to convey her emotions in just a glance brings some true heart to the smaller moments. Glen Powell's charm succeeds once again as the wild tornado wrangler with more to him than it seems. It's extremely predictable, which takes away from the intensity of the tornado scenes and overall depth to the story, but the beautiful visuals and creative camera work make up for it. This is a crowd pleaser through and through. I'm going to give Twisters a 3.5 out of 5. If you plan on checking this film out, let me know in the comments down below. I also want to give a shout out to the person who recognized me at the screening. That has never happened before, but they're like, oh, I've seen Movies in Canada and I recognize your face and everything like that. So if you want to possibly be at one of the same screenings, check out Movies in Canada in the description down below. Thank you so much to them for letting me see this film early. Thank you to that woman, and thank you all for watching. I will see you guys next time. Over and out.